Hi everyone. My name is Pratham. I studied at MSF. I'm in class of 2022. I graduated with Natasha actually. I did the IB diploma. Um, yeah. So currently I'm doing business management at Bayes Business School. I'm a second year student right now. I'm doing business management with digital innovation and entrepreneurship. So just for you guys' information, if you guys wanted to look at the course that I'm doing and the modules and everything, I had an integrated link in it. So once I share the presentation with you guys, you can just click on that and then access it. So just in case you want to do the same course, if you're interested in the same one, I've also added the UCAS code in there. That's sort of our main building campus, if on the right, the entrance of it. So yeah, it's pretty cool historic building. These were my key modules from, well, at least so far. I haven't done my second semester in year two, but they are sort of my key modules from year one. So we had fundamentals of marketing, management lab skills and business skills, and critical analysis. So I'll just quickly go through a few of them. So for the marketing, as you guys probably have done in IB as well, it's is the core of what marketing is. Obviously, it's a lot more in depth than what you guys would cover in IB. And the lab skills and business skills was actually my first time doing something like that. So what we had to do is we had to go out into the city. We had to take pictures and sort of find ideas based on the pictures that we've taken, and then explain the pictures and explain our idea through the proposals that we've got. So we had a group of sort of five, six, and we went out the city, took pictures, and then using the pictures, we had to come up with a business plan to explain to our examiners. And then sort of the business skills part of it is more to do with personal development. So what we did during this course was more to do with how do you develop yourself through CVs, how do you answer questions in an interview. So you got a personal idea of how you would go about in sort of a professional sector, right? So when you get out of uni, how are you going to present yourself? And they sort of improved our CV, helped us improve our CVs. How do we write cover letters? We got also introduced to sort of the STAR framework where we got to answer questions. So how would you answer a question in an interview? We got help on that as well. And then we had critical analysis where you were put into this business situation and you had to sort of answer questions based on the psychology of how people work, right? So we got to look into these case studies and look at the different parts of the case studies and analyze, okay, if this person is saying this, what kind of biases do they have potentially? And how do we eliminate the use of biases when we're either pitching or if we're presenting something to an audience? And then, so this is from year two. So I've just started year two. So I'm going to be ending my first semester at the end of this week, actually. So that we had intro to entrepreneurship where we had to make our own business and sort of pitch it to some investors. Simulated investors, not actual investors. We had technology and innovation management, where you look at how technology works and what types of technologies there are, and you look at how do you manage them and how the technology sort of works and what stages it goes through. So you cover, I'm sure you cover that in a very rudimentary level during your IB courses, but that just sort of goes into a little bit more detail. And so intro to finance, I know it's not the favorite for most people or not that many people sort of like the financial part, but we sort of had a very interesting way of looking at it was we were sort of given our idea. So we had a angel investor who gave us 500K pounds, and we had to sort of pay her back within 5 years. And then we had to calculate our own cash flows and everything, sort of with our business idea. So is our business idea viable? First of all, you need to look at that. And then you need to see how much are you going to pay back in terms of the rate of return that you get. So it's sort of obviously the concepts would be very new to you guys, but when you get into it, it's a very interesting course and sort of very hands-on. So like my experience has been very sort of put into the real world, simulations of the real world, and sort of experience it and through that. So just a bit about Bayes. We're currently actually the second in London in the Financial Times ranking. And as you can see, we have 50 plus years of business education experience. It used to be actually called CAS Business School before, but they decided to change their name due to some reasons. So it was I think it was some reasons due to some legal reasons that they had to change the name. So yeah, but we've been sort of, the uni has been operating for 50 plus years, so it's been very good experience so far for me at least. Um, yeah, so thank you for listening. I just wanted to give you guys a couple more resources. So again, it's an interactive link. So when you click on this image, and this is my LinkedIn. So if you guys wanted to connect with me and have any questions about my uni or some uni life experiences, how I went through IB, please feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you for listening. I'll think Natasha has a few questions, and then I'll pass on to you guys. Yeah, so I actually decided to do business as a course because I wanted to get into a field of business initially because sort of I actually didn't know what I wanted to do until I would say around like late grade 11. So I was still a bit of a confused soul, if you would like, until grade 11. And until then, I was like, okay, so then I realized that I had sort of developed an interest in entrepreneurship and sort of starting my own business. So that was sort of my goal. And I was like, okay, business would help me do this. And obviously, I wanted to do a course which specialized in sort of the digital areas because that would be my sort of focus when I wanted to do my own startup. So the digital areas and also innovation and entrepreneurship, which is sort of some key fundamental pillars of starting your own business. So I was looking for courses, and sort of Bayes was the one that really stood out as one of the courses they actually offered from the offset was innovation and entrepreneurship. So I sort of looked at their course structure, the modules, which I recommend all of you guys to do as well. So any university you guys are looking at, I would definitely suggest for you guys to go through the module lists and see what you're being asked in the first years and second year and third year, just so you get a brief idea of what you're going to be doing in your uni. Because sometimes you'd go for the name itself as the business management course, and there'd be a very generic and sort of not very specific to what your interests are. Obviously, you get electives, but yeah, just have a brief look at what they expect you and what modules they cover. Yeah, so IB is definitely a very good sort of foundation level to university life in terms of the content and the subject content. But I would say there is a sort of a quite a big step up in terms of what you cover and the depth that you cover it in. And you generally have a lot more reading because in IB, what you do is you have teachers explaining everything to you. And so you would have that same thing with the lectures, but there's a lot more self-dependence on your part. So if you're a student who takes initiative and sort of um, does all the work on time and sort of focuses on keeping up with everything, you're going to be fine. You're going to be completely fine throughout at least the first year and a good part of the second year. Because what they do in uni is they would teach you the concepts, they would explain it briefly to you, and then it's up to you to understand the concepts more through the additional readings that they give. And at points, I've had to do sort of, not to scare you guys off, but it's like around like 100 pages per week of just reading, which is quite a bit, and it gets quite a bit. But I think as you go up in education, that's sort of a trend that I think Crispin probably experienced as well. It's just a lot more reading, and it's just grasping a lot more knowledge through books and other resources. So yeah, there's a big jump up, but I think IB does provide a very fantastic foundation for sort of the step up that you would have to take in university. And the general structure of IB as well, the course and the exams that you have is very interesting, and it does really help you to do the application and learn the application part of it. And I think the workload that you do have in IB, it does help you a lot to do when you go into the university life, because in uni, you're going to do one subject that you're interested in, you're passionate about. But in IB, you're going to have six different subjects, right? So it's a lot more diverse in terms of how much work you have and what type of work you have. In uni, it's a lot more focused to the content that you like. So I guess in that way, it is very different. But yeah, it's a little bit of a step up, at least from what I felt. So at least from my first year experience, your computer science skills don't have to be high. So I had zero computer science skills when I went into my course. And because they don't expect you to have a sort of a foundation in computer science, because university, they want you to get a foundation from the course itself. So they're going to be teaching you the basics of the coding and the computer science part of it, if you do choose to do that. So for my electives, I get to choose a computer science elective, which I have actually chosen. Um, so for the second semester this year, we're going to do financial and business analytics, and that has a little bit of a sort of a coding aspect in our uni. But in generally speaking, there's really nothing to worry about, especially if you're going into a business course. Yes, some especially talking about the maths part now, some courses will require you to do a bit of maths, but if you have done higher level maths or even the standard level math, you have a very good foundation from IB. Because IB, I believe, does do maths especially well, and does provide a very solid foundation to your core learnings. Um, but I would say that yes, obviously uni you're going to learn new things, but the way you've learned math through IB, your foundations are very strong, and all you have to do when you go to uni is just apply those foundations to different concepts and sort of different ways of approaching questions and business situations, because they do use maths more in through the business situations than just strict maths, or you're just doing like derivatives and integrals just for the doing the sake of derivatives and integrals, right? So it's a lot more applied, I would say. I think I think the big one that I had was sort of the challenges of the readings. I think that was sort of my biggest challenge. Is just the content is so dense in terms of the books. So you get provided with books which are just really dense in terms of text and like content. So you cover a lot in a very short period of time. So I think that was sort of my thing of understanding all the concepts as quickly as I can. Um, but in another aspect, I would say, just studying in a business school is the group work as well, because I think the IB does provide a very good foundation with when it comes to group work, because we do a lot of interactive stuff within the class. But yeah, the group work can be challenging at times, because in a business school, at least in my business school, we have people from diverse backgrounds, and sort of collaborating with them is nice, but it can get challenging at times because not everyone's first language is English, and that communication barrier is there. So you have to keep in mind that not everyone is going to be at the English level that you are at. So you have to sort of also help people through their coursework if you're in a group with someone whose first language isn't English. So yeah, I do. I think it's that's one aspect that does really sort of work with you when you do the IB. It's just that you have done a lot of interactions with group with different people from different cultures and backgrounds. It's just you have a really good idea of how to deal with certain situations. So that would be definitely another challenge, I would say, for a business school. Yeah, so in 5 years, I ideally want to have a master's in the bag, so the MBA or a master's in sort of business analytics. Um, but yeah, so in 5 years, my sort of my career plan right now, as of right now, obviously it could change, is sort of get into consulting for 4 or 5 years, and then ideally through the connections that I've developed through the work, want to get into uh, my starting up my own business, so opening up my own startup. So that's sort of my career progression, at least from what I've thought of right now. Um, I think the part I most about MSF the most is sort of the close culture that we have. Because I feel like uni is just because at least my cohort we have like 700 kids, so it's very busy, and you meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds. Yeah, that's great, but I thought MSF really developed sort of a very close knit culture within like you develop very close relationship with everyone in your cohort, because you have pretty much what 60, we had what 40 people, I think 42 people.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I had a pretty good sort of friendship with most of the people in the cohort. So I think that's something that you sort of um, don't really find. So you don't really know everyone in the cohort. So it's a lot more different that way. But you do get to meet a lot of people. I think I've met close to like 150, 200 people just in like the first year and a half. So you do meet a lot of people from different backgrounds, and it's quite fun, to be honest. I think quite a few, to be honest. I think we have a pretty close knit group back then. So obviously it's not as regular as you would do in school because you meet every day, but we have a pretty good contact with everyone. Like Nati, for example, came over to London just a few months back actually, and we met up. So we do have a very close relationship with everyone because we do meet each other often if someone's in London or if I ever get to go get a chance to go back to Frankfurt. So yeah, yeah, we do keep quite a few close relationships. Obviously, you can't keep contact with every single person in the class, but you do end up keeping contact with quite a few people.